I had a call yesterday with someone who said, Seth, I'm really interested in multifamily real estate, but I just don't know how to buy it, how to acquire it. How do I do this? And I thought that was a really good question. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to acquire a multifamily asset. So make sure you hit the subscribe button right now so you don't miss more videos about building wealth through multifamily real estate. And if you don't know me, I'm Seth Ferguson, a 13-year real estate veteran, host of a real estate TV show, host of a real estate investing podcast, and I'm also the author of the real estate book, Sell for More. So let's get right into it and talk about how we buy or acquire multifamily properties. And before we get going on the nuts and bolts, it's really important for us to recognize the four components of every single real estate deal. You cannot do a real estate deal without these four things. And I call this the real estate matrix. And funny enough, I was watching the first Matrix movie last month, and here's me thinking that, oh, it just came out 10 years ago. It came out a lot longer than 10 years ago. So I guess the gray hair on the side of my head is catching up with me. So the real estate matrix. Every single real estate deal has four main components. You cannot do a deal without these four things. So number one, you have the deal or the opportunity itself. Then you have capital. Then you have management of the deal. And then you have financing. These are the four components to every single real estate deal. And how we go about buying or acquiring multifamily properties has everything to do with what mix of the four components we have at our disposal and what we need. So let's come up with an example. Let's say we are acquiring a $5 million property. So $5 million. To acquire this property, hypothetically speaking, in this example, we found the deal, we underwrote the deal, we got it under contract, we did the due diligence, we did all that stuff, we did the market research, and then we have the capital it needs. So let's say it has some value add to it, so we need $3 million of cash, of capital to invest in the deal. So we have the $3 million in our bank account. Then we have the experience and know-how how to manage the renovations, manage the property, push the rents, we know when to sell it, all that stuff. We can do that ourselves. Then we can also go out and acquire the best financing for this property to do the deal. So we have all four components of the real estate matrix. In that case, we can actually go out and buy this property, acquire it, run the deal completely on our own because we have all four components. There's nothing wrong with that. We can go out and buy the property under our own name. We can create an entity to go out and acquire the property. We are just doing everything on our own. But this doesn't really happen very often. And I would argue it's not a very efficient use of the real estate matrix and all the possibilities that real estate affords us, especially with raising capital. So moving on with this $5 million example, let's say, for instance, we found the deal, we underwrote it, have it under contract, and we have the management experience. So we can manage all the renovations, manage the property over the 5 to 7 year hold period. We have these two things, but we are missing the capital requirements. So we don't have the $3 million cash, and we don't have the financing, we don't have the balance sheet to go out and get the loan for that property. So one thing we can do is we can partner with one or two other individuals and who have the capital and who have the financing. So here's us. So we have the deal and we have the management. Partner number one could bring 1.5 million and sign for financing. And partner number two can bring 1.5 million and sign on financing for the debt. So in this case, how we would structure this partnership is we would just do thirds. So each of us has 33.3% of the deal, and we work it that way. The disadvantage in this case is maybe these people, these investors, they don't want to be active in the deal. They just want to bring their capital. But in partnerships, it's really important to understand, and this is a common misconception, even if somebody's only bringing the capital component and they're not even signing on the debt, they're just bringing the capital. In a partnership structure, they are considered to be active in the deal. There is no passive investing in a partnership. So if something happens to this deal, they are liable just like the person who found the deal and is managing the property. A very common misconception I come across, especially with new people researching investing in real estate, is they think that, oh, well, I'm just bringing my capital to this partnership. Maybe they're acquiring a smaller property with one other partner or a couple different partners. They're under the impression that they're passive. That is not the case. You have the same amount of risk as the person managing the deal and who found the deal and doing all that stuff because you're partners in that deal. Whether it's equal thirds or maybe one person's getting 25, the other person's 75. No matter how you slice and dice it, you are 100% active in the deal. Now let's talk about a larger deal example. So now we're acquiring a $20 million property. So this is a different animal. Chances are we are not doing everything on our own. We may find the deal, but we won't have the capital required. We won't have the management experience or the time, resources necessary, and we may not have the balance sheet to get the financing. So the question is, what structure works best for us to go out and acquire this deal? Well, it would be reasonable to assume that to acquire a property of this scale, we need multiple investors. So we have multiple investors needing to bring the capital rather than just the two people we use for the smaller deal in this partnership example. So we have multiple investors. One of the advantages of working with larger multifamily properties is all the benefits that comes along with it. So we have the economies of scale as it relates to expenses. So we have stronger cash flow. It's a lot more stable, especially during economic downturns. We get different debt than these smaller properties, and then we get better tax benefits through cost segregation and depreciation, which we necessarily may not get with a smaller property because it may not make sense to do that. And I should mention, I do have a video I did on partnerships, and I'll put it right up here if you're interested in learning more about the partnership structure. But with this, when we're scaling up and we need to raise large amounts of capital efficiently from many different investors, we do something called syndication. And syndication is designed specifically to raise large amounts of capital from investors in a very efficient way. It is especially created for this purpose. So we have many different investors. Now the key with syndication is these investors bring the capital, so this quarter of the real estate matrix, they are passive investors. Remember how I said with partnerships, there is no passive investing? Well, in a syndication structure, there is. These investors are risking their capital, but they are not shouldering the risk that the active people involved in the deal are shouldering. And I'll put a link right up here to a video I did explaining everything about the syndication structure, because this video isn't diving deep into specifically syndication. So we go back to the real estate matrix. So we have the capital, we're raising it from multiple investors here. We have the deal under contract, that's good. That'll be on the general partner side, and watch the other video I put up explaining all about that. For financing, with an asset of this size, we'll need somebody to sign on for the debt with a balance sheet. So we may bring on a KP on the deal, and that'll be part of the general partner team, so the active team managing it. And then also we have renovation and management, construction management. So because of the size of the deal and the larger cash flows, the more meat on the bone of the deal, we're able to bring on a specialist that specializes solely in construction management. This is one of the big advantages of doing deals of this size. Instead of wearing, all the different hats if you're doing it on your own, or wearing some of the hats in a smaller partnership, being a jack of all trades is not the most efficient use of your time, and that's not the way to get the best results. So in these larger deals, you're able to have somebody whose only job it is to manage the construction and renovation of the property. That's all they do. They're not doing spreadsheets. They're not doing market risk analysis. They're not doing any of that stuff. They're not going out and raising the capital. They're just focused on the renovations and making sure it's done efficiently and on schedule, and getting the property to the highest and best use. On the financing side, bring on the KP. The KP is not going to find the deal and source it. Their job is to source the financing. Raising capital. The person raising the capital from these investors is not going to go out and work the spreadsheets. Chances are those are two very different personality types and strengths. So by acquiring and working with these larger properties and by using the syndication structure, we're able to take advantage and really use the real estate matrix more efficiently. Plus, with the added benefit of the investors investing their capital, they're also able to realize all the benefits that come along with investing in these larger properties without having to deal with the other three components of the real estate matrix. Because if you're a doctor, a programmer, business owner, you don't have time to start a brand new real estate business. You're doing what you do best, putting bread on the table and earning your income. It's far more efficient to have somebody else take care of the other parts of the real estate matrix and just bring your capital to the deal. So there's many different ways to buy and acquire real estate. It just depends on how much of the matrix you have at your disposal. You can acquire the property on your own. You can partner with a couple people and form a partnership, or you can raise large amounts of capital efficiently, or you can invest in a syndication passively and take advantage of the scale of these larger multifamily properties. And if you're interested in learning more and speaking with other multifamily investors and people interested in multifamily real estate, join our free Facebook group. I'll put a link right down below this video. Check it out. Lots of great people on there. And if you are an accredited investor and you're interested in learning more about the deals I'm currently looking at, head on over to callseth.com and set up a free 20-minute phone call with me. And if you like this video, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Hit the like button. It really helps out the channel. And until next time, happy investing.